to overtime. Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
All right. We have 25 minutes left to talk some football, so let's do exactly that. Should I read out the scores? Let's read out the scores. Actually, no, let's not do that. What I can say is that yesterday night the Bucks lost to the Rams 27-24. Brady is suddenly struggling to throw deep, and I don't know what's going on there. The defense is still relatively good, forcing 2 interceptions and 1 fumble, or something like that, some combination of that. But the defense is still really good. They have issues stopping the run, but, a part of that is Vita Vea's absence. They're a good team. The expectation never should have been Super Bowl or bust. It should have been playoffs. Let's make playoffs. And they're still likely going to do that, probably as a wild card team. But on the Rams side of things, as someone who has relentlessly trashed Jared Goff, I am impressed by Sean McVay making this work. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, they're just figuring it out, man. I'm impressed. I know I've said that before, but look, this is a team that went all in and had so much money tied up and is now struggling because of it. On the defensive end, they have Jalen Ramsey, they have Aaron Donald, and then I forget they found some cornerback who's in his 6th year, but has been playing incredible alongside Jalen Ramsey. So they have those two and him. I also really love Terrell Lewis, the second round draft pick out of Alabama this year. I don't think he's seen the field at all, but he has some crazy high potential if he hits. They've just kind of figured out how to exist in playing with super high movement, what's the word? A lot of dummy plays. So they're getting openings that are easy to see for someone like Goff by confusing all of the defense. And they did that to the Bucks. Cooper Kupp on the first drive alone had 6 catches for 66 yards, which scared the shit out of my fantasy team. But the Rams... So what I really want to talk about when I talk about the Rams is the NFC West, which is an absolute bloodbath. The 49ers are falling apart because of injuries, but with this win from the Rams, they now lead the NFC West, which is a division with the Seahawks and the Cardinals as well. So we're going to see one of those teams miss the playoffs. And I would not want to be that team. The Rams are, the equivalent, not of the Spurs yet, but of the recent Spurs, where they just kind of stick around. Or let's say this, they're the recent Orlando Magic. Because they're not a great team by any means. They have some very good players, but they just don't hurt themselves. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. The difference, of course, is, the Magic have... think Steve Clifford as their head coach, and the Rams have Sean McVay, which is a big difference from a bottom 10 head coach and a top 10 head coach most likely. But the NFC West, I mean, look, if we could just, we can't because of, divisions and all that and how space works. But if we could swap someone from the NFC East and someone from the NFC West just to balance out those divisions a little bit, it wouldn't make any sense from travel and all of that, but it would make a lot of sense football-wise because there are too many good teams in the NFC West. There's just too many of them. We have... I think the Seahawks are going to be good as long as you have Russell Wilson on your team. That's the long and short of it. The Cardinals... have struggled with defense, have struggled with their offensive line. Kyler Murray had his first not great game, which is hard to say when you have 280 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. But, I think the Cardinals lost. I could be wrong. I think they actually played the Seahawks this week. Week 11. Cardinals lost to the Seahawks by 7, yeah. So, I mean, look, that division is insanity. That's all I can say. Who do I think will win it? I don't know. I mean, I was talking with a friend like a few weeks ago and was like, well, and he was like, oh, who do you think will win the NFC West, the Seahawks or the Cardinals? And I was like, and this was just after the Cardinals had won that overtime game. And I was like, well, the Cardinals just took the lead. But as far as the NFC West goes, don't sleep on the Rams. Like they may not end up winning the division, but they will most likely be a playoff team because they are just a smart run team. There you go. There's my thoughts on the Rams. There's my thoughts on the NFC West.